All right, so
All
I
right, so
shared
I
it with
shared it with you, so you should be getting it now. All right, so I shared it with you, so you should be getting it now.
All
All
right.
right.
Want to
Want to
thank you,
thank you,
thank you,
thank you,
thank you,
thank you,
thank you
thank you
so much
so
for
much for
being
being
a part
a
of the
part of
Awesome
the
Music
Awesome
Show
Music
today.
Show today.
This
This
is
is
another
another
episode
episode
of
of
the
the
Awesome
Awesome
Music
Music
Show.
Show.
My
My
name
name
is
is
Dayle
Dayle
T,
T,
your
your
host.
host, and
And I'm
I'm
pleased
pleased
to
to
be
be your host for the Awesome Music Show today. And as always, it's another awesome day given to us by an awesome God to do some awesome things. Beverly Genius, thank you so much for joining from Manchester. Happy to have you on the show.
And for all those who have joined, really want to thank you so much for being a part of the Awesome Music Show. As always, you have been supporting this show, and I really thank you for your support. By the end of the show, I'll be sharing some other details with you, and in an upcoming show, I'll be sharing details with you on how you can support Ministry of the Awesome Music Show and other ways that you can be a part of the show. All right, so today is a very special day, and it's one of those days that we have to use every single day that we get to glorify God and to use our gifts or talents to the glory of God. And once we do that, then God will step in and do the rest. And today is no different. It's a very awesome day, and I'm always cherishing the thought that it's an awesome day given to us by an awesome God. And all we have to do is to do some awesome things with the day. So as you join, share the link with your family, with your friends, so that all those who are not aware of the show can be a part of the show. They can be a part of this interview. They can share the link as well. They can like. They can be inspired. And this interview will be one that they will look forward to, not just today, but years and years to come. All right, so my guest today is Shauna-Kay Douglas, who is an educator and a pastor. She's a past student of the Edwin Allen High School and a past student of Church Teachers College, where she obtained a diploma in Spanish primary education. She recently completed her studies at the Bethel Bible College of the Caribbean, Jamaica, where she did a major in theology and a minor in guidance and counseling. She was named the National 4-H Public Speaker in 2010 and is about to launch her first book, Poetic and Epic, this month. Shauna-Kay continues to live by her favorite saying, God is a young girl's keeper. As a visually impaired person, she embraced the view held by Helen Keller, which I love very, very much. The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. I had to say that a couple times this week to get it in my system. She is passionate about God and serving others. She aspires to inspire before she expires. And that sounds poetic to me as well, and it's powerful. Shauna Kay, thank you so much for being my guest on the Awesome Music Show. How are you doing?
You're welcome, Mr. Thompson. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And I look forward to interviews like these. And, even as the host of the show, I can be inspired and not just the persons who are watching and listening via the Instagram platform. So, really, really happy to have you on the Awesome Music Show.
Thank you so much. It
Um,
was great to be here.
Very well, very well. All right. Sometimes when people see people like no, and I put it that way, you will see a very accomplished person. And a lot of people will not even think of what goes on to bring that person to where they are. They see you as a public speaker, as a pastor, an educator. But a lot of people never really stop to think what brought you to the process you went through to get to this point. So one of the things I want to find out as a start is tell us about your early years as a child, growing up and your parish of birth and some of those little specifics before we get into the meat of the matter, which is who you are today as a pastor, educator, and some other titles that will be added to you as well.
Okay. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone, and good evening to those who have different times or different parts of the world.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
I was born in Lioneltown, Clarendon, but I was raised in Blackwoods, Clarendon. And
Okay.
so I attended the Mountain Basic School. I attended the Mount Liberty Primary School, and then I went on to Edwin Allen High School. Subsequently, I went to First Teachers College, and after that to Bethel Bible College, but not immediately after that. So as a
Oh,
child growing up, for me it was fun. It was
mhm.
a learning experience for me because from an early age I sought lessons in my journey. I guess
Okay.
God designed me that way to always look
Yes,
for
yes.
lessons in the journey.
Yes, yes. So that's good. That's good. That's good because sometimes as a child you go through so many things and you don't know exactly what you're going to become. In your later years, there was a video circulating on social media. I'm not sure if you have seen it, where this young boy, he was about 7 years old. Some an adult asked him what he wanted to become, and he said he wanted to become a gunman because he saw gunman killing police on TV and stuff. It's a statement that troubled me for a couple of weeks. I did another interview and with my guest had aspects of that she dealt with in her interview as well. So it's really good that during those early years you saw it, early training, as you said, God would have designed it that way. Tell us about your family in terms of your siblings. How big was your family, and where do you fall in your family line?
Okay, so I'm the seventh of seven
Ah,
children, so I'm the wash belly.
in what
Yes,
belly?
yes, I'm the wash belly. So I grew up, as a result, I grew up with just my brother and sister. They are
Yes,
twin,
yes.
so I grew up with them and my parents who are now deceased.
Okay. Oh, well,
Yeah.
well. Sorry to hear that. condolences to you as well.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. So the wash belly of the family sometimes, as we always say, it's spoiled because you get everything. Everybody takes care of you, and every time you cry or anything goes wrong, everybody is there to run to you. I've always hoped I was the wash belly of my family, but I wasn't so lucky. Like you are. So that's good. Want to spend some time to pick up Odile gave us one of my uh, favorite supporters of the show and also a past guest of the show, Charmaine Kwame Burke, Munchi Daisy. Thank you so much. Andre Francis, also blessings, blessings. Those are ministers of the gospel, sharing the music, so support those people as they support the show. Way to go, Shauna Douglas, indeed, a young girl's keeper, big up, more to liberty. Yes, 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 yes. Hashtag AI. So that's one of your supporters there. Thank you so much. So being the last of the family, I would think you got certain help from your elder sibling because this is how you will be molded into who you are today. So what were your aspirations at that early age? Did you have anything in mind? Like I know some people it takes them a while, sometimes in their even adult years, to decide what they want to become. At that age, do you have an early aspiration?
Well, one of the things I've always wanted to do was to inspire people,
Mhm.
but particularly in my teenage years, I wanted to go into media because I grew up on radio. In fact,
Right.
I preferred, I guess, because of my challenge, which we'll get into, I had a liking for radio because
Mhm.
my listening skill is more because I assume based on my side challenge and so on.
Yes.
So I could tell you, I was so glued to radio and wanted to go into that career that I could tell you the studio numbers for IGR. I could tell you the different shows, the times they are aired, everything. Yes,
Yes,
I
yes.
was passionate about doing journalism. Yes.
Whoa, whoa. And it's still not too late because, you
Oh,
know, I read an article years ago that which said that most persons change their careers at least three times by the time they get to age 60. So it's still not too late. I mean, you have acquired a lot if you get into some of those things. So being a journalist um, in the making or you're aspiring to be a journalist, I would understand just as how you would listen to those radio programs and you say you know the timings, you know the name of the shows and stuff like that.
yes.
That shows a great interest and trust me, even as you do this interview, you never know. Sometimes God just has a way of just making all of those aspirations just culminate into one beautiful thing. So that's good. So in terms of your rough patches, because I'm sure as a child you must have gone through some rough patches. What were some of those challenges? And as you spoke about your hearing being developed because of maybe the the the, the issue with your sight. Tell us about some of those challenges and how did you deal with that as a child growing up?
Well, the major challenge for me, because that I've had challenges, so the major challenge for me though was my visual challenge. So I was
Mhm.
born extremely nearsighted, seeing
Yes.
about 60% from one eye and virtually none from the other.
Wow.
So that in itself was a challenge for me because when I was going to basic school, it took me a year before I could write O, the letter O, right?
Wow.
I
Wow.
believe that now, I believe that as I grow, my eye improves, because those days I had challenges going anywhere by myself. Like I had to depend on somebody to carry me around, to be there with me, that sort
Mhm.
of thing. So I had challenges seeing the chalkboard at school because
Mhm.
of the fact that I'm so nearsighted. Even if I'm at the front, I'm not seeing the board. So
Wow.
but thankfully I had teachers who were very understanding. My family was understanding. My friends and classmates were understanding. So sometimes I have to wait until a child is finished writing, or the teacher will write for me, and that would have gone up from basic school straight up into tertiary institution, where persons either write for me, read for me, and I write, or
Mhm.
I the teacher would do that. And so that was some of the challenge. Some of the challenge I get, one of the challenge in terms of the visual challenge I have was to identify people. So what I have to do is I know your voice. So when you speak, I will know that it is you. So I'm able to differentiate voices. And also I use different things. So for example, if I see you like you're wearing that blue jacket now,
Mhm.
and say later on today I see you again, and I sort of have this image of you, of your build and so on. So when I
You
see you later on today, I'll hail you up and you think that, oh, she's sick. But it's not just sick, but I have these strategies that work. And
yes,
so,
yes.
and that's the same thing in terms of building. So I might go to a place for the first time, that's the time you will know. But after a while, I create a mental picture, so I'm able to run up the steps, do all the things like normal people, but people think that I'm, like them, and I don't have a slight challenge. In fact, there are persons who say to me, if you didn't tell me you have a challenge, I wouldn't know,
You would know.
because, right, because of how I navigate my way through things. For example, too, if I'm supposed to read in public, like do sermons or speeches, I do it from memory. So I do all the groundwork, do the introduction and the body and the conclusion and everything. And then when I stand before you, I'm saying all that I've written from
Remember.
memory, because I have a very good memory. God has blessed me with a very good memory, and that works for me as well.
Awesome, awesome. So inspiring, because the title of the show is Challenges My Propellant to Greatness. And I don't think I could have thought of any other title to use for the show, because a lot of people have very minute challenges and they give up on life. They just throw in the towel. They make no attempt to change their situation. They make no attempt at education or any kind of scholastic achievement. So I'm really, really proud that through your challenges, these were some of the same things that propelled you to the person you are today, and also for the other things that will be coming your way in terms of your gifts and your talents. And it's always said that when you have a deficiency in one of your senses, then it develops on the others, and you have used them very, very skillfully. And that's a beautiful thing. You didn't sit down with a pity party to say, hey, I can't see well, so I'm not going to go to school, I'm not going to advance in education or anything like that. And I'm really, really proud of you. And I'm sure that those who are watching and tuned into this broadcast today will also be proud of you. Claudia Denny, thank you so much for joining. Oni Givens, blessings, blessings. Sanita Byfield, uh, oh, your classmates. Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for joining the Awesome Music Show and for being a part of the interview. All right, so in the sphere of things going on, you have gone through all of that, and people see so many good things coming out from you. At what point did you sense call of God in your life that would later lead you to a relationship with Him? At what point in your life was that?
Well, I felt that call from age 11, to
Wow.
surrender my life to the Lord. But I was the youngest out of my family to have such an early call or sense of call. And so
Mhm.
my mother wasn't so open to it at the time, understandably so, since she has never experienced that from the other siblings.
Yeah.
So, but at age 13, I decided that, I still sense that strong call, and so I said, I'm going to surrender my life to the Lord. And then I got baptized at the age of 14.
Wow, wow, awesome. So you actually wanted to do it from 11, but I
Right.
understand a lot of parents, they would say, well, I don't think you're ready, or they have their reservations and they will hold you back, which I hope that's changing because, I mean, children are developing even faster now than back in those days. I hope those things are changing. So I'm happy that at age 14, you actually got the opportunity to surrender fully to God, which He has been using you to inspire people, as you have said, and that's a really powerful thing. So, in terms of pastoral calling, now, because you're now a full-fledged pastor, having been trained by the Bethel Bible College of the Caribbean, Jamaica, and that's really, really good. At what point did you sense that kind of pastoral calling? Because at age 14, you got saved. At what point did you sense that pastoral call over your life, which then you subsequently through the Bethel Bible College?
Well, I would say at a point when I was busy doing my own thing, busy having
Yeah,
my own plans, I
yeah,
was on the verge of leaving Teachers College.
yeah.
In the month, I was leaving May, and so in April, I begin the countdown
Mm,
because you know that you want to have your freedom, that sense of financial freedom, so you
yes,
can do what needs to be done. And so
yeah,
at that time while counting down, that's when the Lord says pastoral ministry.
right.
But of course, I did not pay it any mind because I was looking at my circumstances, one, and so I was so excited to finish Teachers College
Yeah,
and to get that sense of independence. In
right,
fact, based on how I went to Teachers
right,
College too, I decided that Lord just help me to finish so that I can look after my healing mother. Because let me just
right,
interject here that in 2010, when the same year I got the named National 4-H Public Speaker, my father
mm,
died in that year.
oh,
So, in fact, a week after my father's death, I had to go and do that final speech. Yes, that was when I was
mm,
named the National 4-H Public Speaker. So my
wow,
father was buried on a Wednesday. It had to be so because my family had to take into consideration that I was still doing my sixth form examinations,
exams, yeah,
and I am also having college appointments, right? So my father was buried the Wednesday. I had college interview the Thursday, and I had a CAPE exam the Friday. Only God allowed me to do all of those things in that
wow,
1 week.
wow.
Yes. And
Most people that
so,
would be possible.
yes, so it is God Himself who, gave me the strength to do all of that in that 1 week. And
Right.
so my mother at the time was hailing as well. So it was all of that at once. And
Mm,
so my aim was to keep my eyes on the goal and the prize so that when I finish my diploma, the diploma takes me 3 years. So when I'm
right.
finished, I'm just going to make my money, my mark, and children do because Spanish is something I love. So do that type of
Right.
thing, and that was the plan. But as I said, as I was counting down that 1 month to go, the Lord said pastoral ministry. Something I couldn't accept at the time as I shared the different circumstances. And so, needless to say, it took me 4 years later to accept the call of God on my life.
Wow, wow, wow. Because one of the things with the call of God in your life, is that sometimes when that you're feeling that nudge, it sometimes takes a while for you to really accept it. And a lot of times, even in the Bible days, you realize people will even question, is this really God? Is it my mind, or is this something that's happening authentically from God? So I'm happy that even though it was 4 years later that you accepted that call, because having gone through Teachers College, finishing up a diploma in Spanish, looking forward now to go and do Spanish and you know educate the nation's children and even travel abroad because I think a lot of countries would do well with Spanish teachers. I'm sure hearing this call now for Bible College would sound like a shift in all of what you have been
A
doing,
shift, and
in
then
all of
too,
what you have been doing.
yes, a shift indeed. And then too, I begin to look at, oh, will I finance this Bible college thing? All of those questions. And in the interim, that is certificate because I did not work for those 4 years. After I left Teachers College, I did not work for those 4 years.
Wow.
And all my needs were met.
Mhm.
Lessons I do have received prophecies, confirmation concerning the call, everything like that. But in my mind, I could not see how is this going to work out. But when I decided 4 years later to step out in faith, I went to college and I did not go to school at all.
Wow, wow, awesome, awesome. Because one of the things about God that we realize, once He is leading you into a pathway, He's going to make provisions. It doesn't matter how
Mhm.
dark the pathway looks or doubtful it comes across. Once He's leading in a pathway, He's going to make the provision, and all we have to do is just to be obedient to say, "Yes, God, this is what you're leading me into. I know it's your voice speaking to me, and that's what I'm going to do because." That would have been the best decision. So, what was your experience like at Bethel? I know Bethel is one of the coveted institutions in Jamaica for biblical training. So, what was your experience like with Bethel, and how was the journey? Because I think that was a 4 year journey as well, right? Or was
Right.
that quick?
That was a 4 year journey. Bethel's journey for me was very inspiring. It was an eye-opening journey. I learned a lot
Yes.
on the journey. I met I met supportive people on the journey. The classes for me, I think Bethel has the best lecturers. Yes, the classes, they were challenging, they were practical, they were inspiring, you know, and I really loved the atmosphere there. I enjoyed my time at Bethel. I would have learned many valuable lessons at Bethel. I would have enjoyed the interactions with my batchmates and other students, the lecturers. It was really a fulfilling journey. Regret. Having gone to Bethel,
Yeah.
I felt that, yes, Lord, this is where I really belong. Yes, that's the feeling.
That's good. That's good because so many times, even when God is leading you into a direction and you're actually on the journey, a lot of times it can bring about a lot of questions. Even halfway through, maybe some of the people would stop to say, "Hey, is this really what I should be doing?" So I'm happy that in your case, you were able to feel that love, that connection. You
And
felt
I,
right to. Yeah, go ahead.
yes, and I think too, one of the things too is that I have wrestled with the call for 4 years. And so I
Yeah.
would have put everything on the table essentially to the Lord and said, Lord, if it is that you wanted me at Bible school, why you had to take me to Teachers College first? Of course, the Lord didn't answer the question, but when I went to Bethel, I recognized why I needed to be
Yeah.
at Teachers College first, because
Yeah.
that experience, of course, helped me to navigate and to embrace and to enjoy more effectively the experience that they felt. So in fact, I was so ready to go to Bible school because I said, Lord, I'm not running anymore. The Jonah experience. So I said, Lord, I'm not running anymore. So from the January 2017, I went and collect my application and I'm going for September.
Right. Right.
Yes, and so it was really I felt that settling, and then the environment, the atmosphere, the classes, those things would solidify. the fact that this is really where I belong.
Amen. Thank you so much for that. Marsha Smalling is saying, I'm here, Shauna K. How was the
Oh,
moment?
hi, Dr.
Powered up,
Smiley. Yes.
live out loud. Yes, yes, yes. Hashtag, hashtag.
Yeah.
Motivate's purpose must be fulfilled. He said he will never leave us nor forsake us. He's a promise
Amen.
keeper and he's a miracle worker. Thank you so much for your comments. Keep them coming in. Also, Mr. Praise and Trudy has joined on the Instagram platform. Thank you so much for joining and for being a part of the Awesome Music Show. My guest on the Awesome Music Show today is Shauna-Kay Douglas, who is a pastor, educator. She's a public speaker, and you'll hear more about some of her other titles as well. The title for the show today is Challenges, My Propellant to Greatness. And whatever your situation is today, it doesn't matter your challenges, let this be your force, the push, the propellant for you to go into greatness, to achieve greatness. Don't use your circumstances or whatever you're going through, any kind of disability or anything that you have that's facing you, to let that stop you from achieving what God wants you to achieve in life. All right, so in 2010, with all of what was happening to you, you lost your father, your mom was ill, you had exams and everything, you still came out on top in the 4-H club public speaking competition, I would say. Tell us a little bit about that. And if I'm not sure if you could remember even the topic you spoke about, because I'm sure that would live on with you as an experience that you would want to forget. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that journey started in the September term of 2009, sort of rolled over into
Mhm.
2010.
Yeah.
And so it started with one teacher believing in me or having
Mhm.
that confidence that I can do this.
Yes.
One of the reasons for such was I had entered a public speaking competition at my church and she was present. And so she saw the talent and so on. And so she pushed me into that direction.
Okay.
So, right. And so it would be my first time entering the 4-H public speaking competition. I also had the support of my family. So my brother would do the research for me because then I did not have a laptop and smartphones weren't so popular.
That's the
So
time,
my
yes.
brother,
Understandably.
my brother, he would do the research for me, stop at the library, do the
Yes.
groundwork, that sort of thing, and then you come home with the information and I would put it together. And each time I rehearse and so on, because with 4-H, each time you go to the meetings, you have to do something to show the progress of
Right,
what you
right.
are doing and so on. And so it's the help of my family and supportive teachers and my friends in 4-H who really helped me to really push through. Youth involvement in local food production for sustainability was the topic I spoke on. I
Oh, wow.
remember vividly that I made mention of Karen Kamasa, who was a 20-year-old farmer or person who was
Mhm.
involved in agriculture. The experience for me was great because it allowed me to learn more about agriculture and it allowed me to boost my confidence and to unearth the different skills and talents that God would have blessed me with. So from that experience, I learned that sometimes you need to be, not sometimes, but you should be around people who believe in you and who
Mhm.
see your future, who has a glimpse into your future, people who have a glimpse into your future and to know that where you are is not where you're destined to stay. And then as an individual too, it requires pushing, it requires preparation. And we'd have seen this even from Olympics. The other day I posted something concerning one of the lessons I learned that you plan, you prepare, and you execute. And so that's
Right.
what I did. And so even in times where difficult things came up, because when I did the parish when I won at the parish level and advanced to the regional level, my father was in Denby Hospital and I was at Denby Showground to do the regional. One of the
Wow,
things
close
that I
by.
established, right, because even after my sisters finished visiting my dad, they came over in time to do that celebration when it was announced that I won. One of the strategies I used in that time was to tell them, closer to the event, do not tell me anything about my father. Make the moment light and, so that I could maintain a composure and do
Yes.
what I had to do. And so it has taught me to be focused. And one of the things, I don't believe in starting something and leave it halfway. So even sometimes my out of concern, the persons at the 4-H, at the Clarendon 4-H would say to me, you sure you can do it, sort of thing, because they'd have known the situation and saying, yes, just have that confidence that I will execute. I will go there and give it my best. And that happened.
Wow, wow, powerful, powerful. Because I mean, enough was happening at the time for you to either withdraw from the competition or still continue the competition and not do well, and you came out on top, which I applaud you for that. Congratulations on that. I'm sure that's going to be a title that you will keep for life because that's something that you need to look forward. You look back at every single time. Teach Triple C and also St. Elizabeth Jonah. Thank you so much for joining the Awesome Music Show. We're talking to Shauna-Kay Douglas, who is a pastor and educator and also a public speaker. And we're going to be getting into some other titles that she has. In your bio, Shauna-Kay, you mentioned some a quote from Helen Keller, which stood out for me, and I had to read it a couple times to let it soak in my spirit. The only thing worse than blindness is having sight but no vision. Tell us about how that statement has impacted your life and also propelling you now to be launching your first book this month. So tell us about that statement, the impact it has on you, and also you can go into the book that you're going to be launching.
Okay. Well, I would have reflected on my journey
Yes.
and known that persons who have disabilities, especially, well, I'm not blind in terms of seeing any at all kind of thing, but I look on those people too, those who are blind and those who have challenges like the visual challenge on a whole. In fact, I'm inspired by Emilia Candy Isaac. She's blind and she,
Yes, of
she's
course.
into music, yes. So I'm inspired, she's one of my inspiration. And I reflect and I said sometimes these disabilities, if we look at them and don't do anything about them, we can become despondent and
Mhm.
think, oh, to be blind is the worst thing, or there's no hope for a blind person, there's no hope for somebody who is visually impaired. And then I really looked at the quote from Ellen Keller and said, it's not, that is not hopeless, because looking at it or thinking about it, even someone might think about it and think, okay, that is hopeless, you can't blind, you can't see. So what's the point? Somebody has to believe in you, that sort of thing. But the real thing is you have the insight 2020 vision, but you don't have vision in terms of you don't know where you're heading, you are stuck, you don't have a clear sense of direction. Yet someone who has a visual challenge and so on, that is not the end of it. That is not a death sentence, right? But once you have vision, once you have the will to dream, once you have that indomitable spirit to keep going, to keep moving forward, irrespective of the challenge, then you can overcome. And so that is something that stood out to me, because even though I had my challenge, I always knew what I wanted. I never see myself less than anybody else. I knew that I had, God would have given me the different skills and abilities to do what He would have placed me on earth to do. And so having a visual challenge is not the end of the road, it's not the end of the journey. right? And so persons who don't have, who have sight and no vision, that should be really pitied and should be really encouraged to
Yes.
get the vision going, because it's pointless you're seeing, but you don't know where you're going. So it's like me saying, I am nearsighted, but spiritually I am sighted.
Mhm.
Or I am nearsighted, but my vision, my mind's eye is farsighted. I'm looking at the future Shauna-Kay 10 years, 20 years down the road, though I have a physical challenge. And so that stood out for me. Now, as you talk about the book that am ready to launch on August 29, the book is currently available on Amazon, and it is entitled Poetic and Epic. And the EPIC is an acronym which stands for Edifying, Practical, Inspiring, Compelling. Now, this book came out of my experiences, and experiences, personal experiences, experiences with people, experiences with life, that sort of thing. And I am also a jovial person, so there are some points in the book that deals with, or that deal with humor, right? Uh, I wrote the book. How it came about, I started writing poetry at CTC, but not to, just for dub poems, because when I went to Church Teachers College, I realized that the classroom can't be boring. So it was at Church Teachers College I found this creativity, or found this new gift, because teaching primary students a foreign language, you need to make sure, and I need to make sure that it is engaging, it is fun. And when you're doing college presentations too, you don't want to bore your classmates. So those times I used to do dub points. But when I came home in 2013, and September 2013, no job, leading into 2014, I was faced with unemployment. I was also faced with poverty, which I'd have grown up rather in a poor home. So I was faced with all of that. But in those dark days or dark moments, the light of God shone through. And as the light shone, I got inspiration and I began to write poems. So even in the book, you'll recognize that for each poem, there is a story that led to me writing the poem. And so over the years, starting from that time, 2014, I've been writing poems and so on. But I've always wanted to publish, and persons, because some of my poems I shared on Facebook, and persons that have been, encouraging me to publish these poems. But I know you might be aware, Mr. Thompson, that sometimes when we preach at church, or most times, if not all the time, when we preach, the word is for us first. So I have found out that in my final year, especially, I've taken note that in home church, Blackwood's New Testament Church of God,
Mhm.
that whenever I preach a sermon, I can almost wait for something to come, whether good or bad now, doesn't matter good or bad, something to come to test the word, sort of
Yes.
thing, right? And to see, okay, preacher, you just preach that. How are you going to act, right? And
Mhm.
so I remember one Sunday night, it was the last Sunday in June, I preached on God has chosen you. It was Youth Sunday, and I was trying to tell the young people at church, God has chosen you and He has called you. And I even spoke, David was the text in terms of David was the person, the character that I used from
Yes.
1 Samuel 16. And I was sharing with the young people that God has chosen you. And then I came home and I decided to take a nap, so my phone was off and so on. When I woke up, I saw a message from, and I shared with Dr. Smalling that poured up. She's an author herself, right?
Yeah.
And Dr. Smalling sent me a message, you know, we were talking, and she said, because I had shared some of my poems with her, and she said to me, "You're going to, I hope you're planning to publish these poems." And my usual answer to people, it would be, yes, I'm going to publish my poems one day. But that particular night, Dr. Smalling said, "When are you going to do it?" That when did it for me. That when did it for me. And because at the time when she asked the question, so I was scared because I just finished school essentially and said, you know, summer, I need me to relax a little and all of that. But then I remember the word God has chosen you, and I said, well, the Lord probably chose me to be an author now, so I just ran with it. And within the same week, I got all the poems together, add more to the poems and to the book and all of that. And it has been just going since. And so yesterday, the book was published on Amazon. The book's aim is to really inspire people, to motivate you. I would have shared my vulnerability in that book and the different challenges of unemployment, of lack, you know, of my visual challenge, and how God would have helped me on the journey. Because one of the things that Poetic and Epic has done for me over the years is to keep my perspective in check. And you can hashtag that perspective matters. So it doesn't matter what you are faced with, perspective matters. So when I was in that dark place, it was poetry that shifted my perspective and say, look at it this way. It's not always how it look, right? Things will get better, things will change. God is still here with you, even in that dark place, even in that lonely place, even in a place when you don't understand what is happening. And that's why even one of the poems, Life's Crossroads, yes, I am that point when I don't know what to do. God is there. And so poetry is one of the methods that God would have given me to shift my focus, shift my perspective, and to concentrate on Him.
Wow, so powerful. I mean, it's one of those things that you would have said, as you said, you would have said to people, yes, I'm going to publish it one day, or I'm going to write them and get them home.
Yes,
But you had no definite plan in mind of how to do this. But that question stirred up
yes,
that response of when. So now you're going to have to put all of that you're going to have to put that into action, which
right.
on August 4th, you launched that book was launched. Yes, August 4th, it was released and it's now available on Amazon. It's called, your book is called Epic, and it's
Poetic
one of
and
the
epic.
Poetic and Epic, sorry, Poetic and
Yeah.
Epic, and it was released on August 4th. It aims to motivate, encourage, and inspire all those who read the book. And it's one of those books that you all need to get. It's available on Amazon. And the full release, as you said, is going to be on the 29th. The full release is going to be on the 29th of August 2021. And great things are happening for you in the pandemic. I mean, a lot of people through the pandemic has become more creative and they have been creating stuff that they can call their own. And God has been using a lot of people. Some people are using the pandemic to blame life and to blame their circumstances to say this is why I'm not achieving, while others are pushing forward through the pandemic and you're no different, and that's a powerful thing. So in terms of, because from what you're saying, after teachers college, you were home for a while and then you went into Bible college and you have now completed Bible college. So tell us, is it that you're teaching now or you're pastoring or both? What's the present situation like?
Well, the present situation, I am not teaching. I'll take up pastoral duties on September 1.
Wow, wow, wow. Oh, congratulations,
Thank
congratulations,
you.
congratulations. So is it that you're going to be leading a congregation on your own or it's going to
Right,
be
leading a
oh,
congregation on my own.
powerful, powerful. I mean, the popular song that we have done in church over the years, if you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. And I'm sure all of the things that you have gone through, all of your training, all the poems, the Spanish, every single thing, trust me, God is going to use all of that and He's going to marvel your own self, and that's just one of those things. Because a lot of times, even for myself, I've done a lot of training, and sometimes I'm wondering, why did I go to do this? Because I'm not seeing where it fits in my life, and later on in life, you realize it just comes in handy because that's just how God works. So I'm happy that you are now going to be taking up pastoral duties on September 1, which is a powerful thing. And I know the journey may become challenging, but you have gone through enough in life already that you would know that even when it becomes challenging, the hand of God is still over your life, and that's one of the most important things. Because it doesn't matter where you go or where God takes you. Just as Jonah was in the, the belly of the fish for how many days, but God was still with him. He was trying to run away from a call or from doing what God wanted him to do, but God was still with him. And with all the other prophets and all the other Bible names, Bible characters that we can talk about, God was always with them despite the challenges that they faced. So it's a very, very good thing. So even though you did teach us college, you were hoping that, hey, I'm going to be a teacher, I'm going to, be in the schools and I'm going to do all kinds of stuff. You just don't know what God is going to do through your pastoral ministry because this is what He is saying, and none of your training will go through this. None of your training will go through this. Thank you so much, Auntie Debbie, for joining me as well. Let's see if I'm missing anybody. Law Lady Jay has joined as well. Thank you so much for being part of the Awesome Music Show. We're talking today to my very awesome guest, Shauna-Kay Douglas. She's a pastor, she's an educator, she's a poet, and she's a public speaker. And we are happy to have her as guest on the Awesome Music Show. Before we close, Munchi Daisy, sorry, is saying perseverance in midst of persecution, loving the interview, and also the topic challenges my propellant to greatness. Thank you so much, Munchi Daisy, for your comments and for being a part of the Awesome Radio Show. I'm really, really inspired by you and for you being a guest on the show. I mean, God knows exactly what He is doing, and even as you take up pastoral ministry in the New Testament Church of God, I'm sure that God's hand will be over your life and He will use you. You are never the person to look at yourself in a pitiful way to say, hey, I can't see very well, so God, no, you can't use me to be a pastor, you can't use me to do that. Because I've seen so many people, even people who have no legs, people who have no hands, and they are great, 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 great people in the society that we live in today. So you're no different. So what I want you to do is share a word with those who are watching today, those who receive this broadcast. And one that's a wonderful thing about technology and social media. You can post this and people can see it years and years to come. So share a word of encouragement to all those who are watching, especially someone who might be having physical challenges, might not be eyesight, might not be hearing, might not be speech, but it might be something else. And they have used those challenges over the years to keep themselves down. I want to specifically talk to us today and to address those people and also those on the Instagram platform before we close this interview.
Okay, so I start with the hashtag perspective matters, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Perspective matters. And so a person might see a glass half full and someone see half empty.
Empty. Yes.
Somebody is looking at they might be looking at the glass and saying it's half empty. But perspective would dictate, the proper perspective would dictate that you'll be grateful that there's a glass and there's at least something in the glass. And so as you go through life, challenges will be there. It's one of the things to learn is to focus not on what you cannot control, but focus on what you can control. Most importantly, though, focus on who is in control. And so God Himself is in control. He knows the challenges, and He would have given you the tools that are necessary to keep you to go forward. See those challenges as catapults that will launch you into your destiny. You see, perspective again, I keep saying this, that perspective matters because where someone would see an excuse, the person with the right perspective sees opportunities, right?
Yes.
Where someone would sit in self-pity, someone uses that same situation as a launching pad into their destiny. Somebody uses that same thing to see, okay, how can I use this challenge to motivate others? How can I go through this? I want to say to you today, do not stop crying. And I'm not telling you not to cry when the milk spills, but there's a time when you need to stop crying because there's a time when you just need to take them up, dry the spilled milk, and keep going. Because the milk is spilled, right? The milk is spilled already. Cry, yes, because of course you're going to feel the disappointment, and it is okay to feel disappointed. But do not allow do not unpack on disappointment street when you are destined for excellence avenue, right? You are destined to be great. And it doesn't matter what others tell you, because I would have had that share as well, where persons doubted my abilities. But when you know who you are and whose you are, when you put your trust in God and focus on your strengths, then it will help you to go through life. Look at your strengths and strategize. Nothing is wrong in acknowledging that you have a limitation or you have challenges. The problem is if you stop there. So while you have those limitations, don't allow those limitations to limit you. Keep going. Keep on doing what you're doing because your life is a story. And even though you're at that chapter that may not read so well, remember who is your author. God is your author, and He continues to write your story. And no story we have read ends in the middle of a conflict. There's always a resolution. And another thing we need to look at too is not how others view us is important. The most important thing is how we view ourselves. So we need to learn to shut out the doubters, right? Shut out the doubt and ensure too that while we're shutting out the external doubters, the internal ones are not active. Because if internal doubts exist, then it will impede your growth and your development. You can do it. You can achieve whatever you set your mind to achieve. Yes, it may take you more time, more preparation time, and so on. So, but the thing is, do not compare your journey with someone else's. They are on their own journey, and it is not similar to yours. Focus on your journey. Focus on what it is that you want to accomplish. And even if it may take you longer, as long as it is accomplished. But do not allow your situation to cripple you, to stifle you. Keep on pushing. Believe in yourself. I usually say this. You see, when you believe in yourself, persons around you, even those who don't, can't help but believe in you afterwards. I remember one time when I shared an accomplishment I had with a past educator. We interacted at a particular level of the education system. With me every now and again. And when I shared that particular accomplishment with her, she said to me in Jamaican terms, "Wanna beg my doctorate." In other words, don't give up on anybody, right? So it sometimes means that sometimes persons see you moving and they themselves might doubt you or may doubt you, but it is your duty to believe in yourself Believe in the God that you serve, and then those who don't believe will catch up. All right? Self-confidence is attractive. It is trending. Believe in yourself, but more so believe in God. Know that you have the strength, know that you have what it takes to do what you have to do. This is not what others are saying to you. Make sure what you are saying to yourself, those things are positive, they are uplifting, and ensure too that you spend time around positive people, people who will help you to go into the right direction, people who will help you who will help to push you into your destiny. People who will see a future so bright that they can't afford to allow you to miss out and be the best version of you. So strategize, focus on your strengths, and watch your perspectives, what you are saying to yourself. You can't stop people from talking, but you make sure that what you are saying to yourself is positive and keep a positive circle. And remember always to put your trust first and foremost in Almighty God. And you will be a force to be reckoned with. Challenges or not, you will be a force to be reckoned with. Bless you.
Wow, wow, powerful, powerful, powerful. Munchi Daisy is also saying, stop pitying and wallowing in misery when you can rise against the challenges. Sharon Kwame Burke, hope I'm calling your name properly. Very well said. That's her comment. I really, really thank you for your encouragement because as you spoke, I remember watching a YouTube video a couple of weeks ago of this gentleman somewhere in one of those African countries. He has been in grade one for a number of years. He's now a grown man. And he's still in grade one to the point where even some of his classmates left school, went on to teachers college, and they're back at the school teaching him and they're telling him that he's going to become pensioner in grade one. And while I read through the comments in the chat section of YouTube, I think most people miss the fact that even though he is such a slow learner, he keeps repeating. I can't remember how many times he has repeated grade one. One of the things that stood out to me is that he has never stopped going to school. He has something that maybe even those very teachers who were his classmates don't have, and it's perseverance. And that was what stood out to me from the story. And that's when I listened to you a while ago, that was what came across. That doesn't matter your challenges, your circumstances, what you're going through, what people say, you have rightly said that. It doesn't matter what they say, what the world says, what the community says, what the daughters say, that you can't do this, you can't achieve this. The important thing is the perspective you have on yourself and what God Almighty thinks about you. And once you know the power, as you said, that you have in God and the abilities that He's going to give you, or He has given you, then that's all you need to push forward. If you don't mind, if you want to share your contact details or your email address, whatever you want to share with us on the Awesome Music Show, so that people can get in contact with you for public speaking engagements, for ministry connections, and whatever else, even to get copies of your books. You can leave those information with us now, and also how we can find you on social.
Okay, so you can find me on Facebook, Shauna-K Douglas. You can WhatsApp me at 876-446-8165. That's 876-446-8165. Right. And you can also follow me on Instagram, Shauna-K Douglas.
Right, right. Yes, 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 yes. So as we close the Awesome Music Show, my guest has been Shauna K. Douglas, my very, very awesome guest. And it's a pleasure to have her on the show because we know that in these times, sometimes it's so hard to find positive people who we can look up to motivate and to strengthen and to push us in terms of into greatness. And when I have you as a guest on the show, just as I've had so many others, It's really an inspiring moment, a very inspiring show. And get her book, Poetic and Epic, and it's on Amazon by Shauna-Kay Douglas. The full release will be on August 29th. And also connect with Shauna-Kay Douglas on Facebook and also on Instagram. And if you want to reach out to her for any kind of engagement, people engagements or ministry contact, you can reach out to her on WhatsApp at 1-876-446-8165, and that will do the job. Thank you so much for being my guest on the Awesome Movie Show. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you for your time. And I wish you all the best in your pastoral ministry and all that God will do in your life. And also your book. I pronounce a blessing on your book, worldwide blessing on your book. And I'm sure this will not be the only book that you're going to be publishing. This is the first of many, and I see prosperity over your ministry and over your life. Thank you so much, Shauna-Kay, for being my guest on
You're
the Awesome
welcome, and thank you so much for having me and for your blessing. Thank you
Blessings.
to all who have joined. Bless you.
Bless you, bless you, bless you. Take care. And for all those who have joined, thank you so much for being my viewers. And for those who don't know about my YouTube channel, go to my YouTube channel, Dayle Music. This video will be posted on it as well. And support the channel. You will see other videos that you would like. So support the channel. And also, you will see other upcoming shows that will be coming up, other inspiring interviews, and this is one of my ministry initiatives that I aim to build into a professional and international radio station. So just continue to pray. I'll be posting ways that you can help to make this a reality so that I can have more inspiring guests like Shauna-Kay and others come on the show. So my blessings to you today, and thank you so much. All your comments in the chat, both on Instagram, on Facebook, and for those who will be seeing this on YouTube very soon. Thank you so much, and God bless. Have a great day. Thank you so much, Shauna-Kay. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
You're welcome. You too.
Thank you. Take care.